is we'll give a couple of minutes till we're good to go, and then we'll go from there. So,
Okay.
okay, so just bringing in the Facebooks. So, how was your day, Les? Chatting to kids all day, mate, or
It,
what?
yeah, just about, yeah. Yeah, it was long, but never mind. It was good. Yeah, I just finished with what did I have? I had 4 hours of kids' classes
Ooh,
tonight.
wow.
Uh, yeah, that's tough. Tough.
I can't believe you've still got it together at this time of night. That's like, like amazing, amazing, and still looking like fine in your black. And that's off the back of a big retreat, and you've gone straight into a new week. And how good, how good.
Yeah, and I've got back to the gym and I've got back to running this morning,
Yeah,
so everything's cool.
I like it, mate. I like it. Well, we're going live.
Loving it.
Yeah, loving it, mate. We're going
But
live
I missed.
inside our client groups right now. So, guys, we're going to wait for 2 minutes, and then we're going to get stuck into this, Les. I did it already. I did it already at the retreat last week. I've been calling Lesley Les for 2 years, and she finally pulled me up on it and said, "I really hate when you call me Les." so, so from this moment forward, I will promise not to do it intentionally. My
Oh,
fault.
just go.
Just like cross me out 100%. I'll tell you what, dude. I was loving the weather up in Glasgow, but it's freaking cold down here in London, mate. What happened? You go south and it's meant to get warm. Freezing.
No,
Yes, it's freezing.
I
It's
don't believe.
freezing.
I don't.
Mate, it's all good. So, guys, we're going to get this started in 1 minute. Good morning, Tezzy. How are you, legend? Good morning, Kylie. Miss Kylie White. I'm saying hi to you. I hope you're well. Guys, you know the drill. If you're coming into this one live, drop us a hello and a howdy. And if you're watching on replay, you know what to do. When I announced that I'm going live with you, Les, there were like a bunch of women in the group going, yes, 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 yes. I want to hear about the story. So, you ready to go deep?
Yeah,
Yeah, cool. All right, guys, we're going to do this.
I thought they're on the other side of the room, so you know.
You didn't reapply the makeup. Absolutely, I get it. I feel it. All right,
You know
you
it
know the
worked.
drill. Let's go. And Carly and Amy and Vanessa are all here. The UK girls just come off the back of the call and they're ready to go as well. So let's do this on the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast. This is the podcast that you come to when you are sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. I'm here today with the one, the only, the Oracle, Lesley Walport. Did I do like a good boxing intro there? Tap, tap,
No.
tap, tap, tap. I love it. I love it. So Leslie's just come off the back of a huge work day. So it's 9 o'clock here in Europe. Are you on the same time zone as the UK?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
cool. So why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself? So how old are you? Where you're based at, and what do you do for work?
Okay. I am 58 years old. See, I don't look a day over 40. I work as an ESL teacher, so English is a second language. And I live in an island, Gran Canaria, in part of the Canary Islands, Spain.
Nice. So
And that's it.
how does a like deep like authentic Scottish girl who would never had a bad word leave her mouth, never a swear word leave her mouth, how does she end up in like a Spanish island?
Uh, well, I don't like Scottish weather, as you now find out,
Yeah.
but after the weekend,
Yeah.
you don't like Scottish. It just drives me nuts, and it's not very good with my health either.
Yeah.
So, complications with arthritis and things. I just decided since I had nothing. in the UK.
Nothing to stop you, as
Um,
in like kids or a husband to grab you and keep you in one spot. Yeah,
I just, my cats had just died. I divorced my husband. I didn't get rid of him. I got divorced my husband, and no kids. So all good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you could just go and island hop and do your thing and settled in Gran Canaria. And what a beautiful place to settle.
I decided I wanted to live in Spain. I committed myself to like a 5 year plan so I could learn Spanish. And then I ended up working for TUI, the holiday company,
Yeah,
and they basically sent me various places all over the world for about 6 years,
right, right,
7 years.
right, right.
Then I decided I wanted to stay somewhere because living out of suitcases is not great.
Mm,
Uh, so I decided to settle in Gran Canaria
okay.
because the 365 days.
Yep.
Woohoo!
Sunny. And so let's go back to, I think it was around, let's say, I want to say September 2022, roughly thereabouts when you joined. Um, what was kind of going on at that point in time? Because meeting you last week, you're not a tall woman. And you were clocking in and around like sort of 88, 90 kilograms at that point in time. And just like feeling a little bit like as you were nearing kind of towards, mid 50s, 60s, that things just weren't amazing. What, like, why were they not amazing? What had kind of happened that had led to the gain of weight?
I had a huge bout of anxiety, depression, and a bit of a mental breakdown.
Mm,
Um, Work had been completely overwhelming. I mean, I was going home at night and knocking a couple of bottles of wine out because I just cope with wine. I couldn't cope with work at all.
mm,
And then it was, I think it was just before May of that year.
mhm,
Yeah, April of that. I found one of my kittens drowned in the swimming pool. And that I think just pushed me over the edge, and that was it. I was like
mm,
completely, I couldn't cope with anything. And I took refuge in lots of alcohol, lots of drugs, and lots of food,
mm,
especially chocolate,
mm.
pizza.
Yeah. Chocolate and pizza are a good combination to stack weight on. We know that,
Yeah,
right? And like that's when people when particularly coaches come at things from, a calories in, calories out level, that's important. But the truth is that you're not thinking about fucking calories in, calories out when you're knee deep in anxiety because things are going on, right?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I didn't really give a shit, quite frankly. And then that was April. So April, May, June, July, August. So August, I must have put on. I must have put on about what 30, 40 kilos
Mm,
in that amount of, and then I saw social media, um whatever, from one of the original coaches,
mm,
one of your coaches, and I thought, oh, what is this? Is this my answer?
mm. So going back to that, like, why? Obviously, you're in a pretty crappy place, but what was it that made you think, look, I need to do something about this?
Because I decided I needed to get back to work. I'd been off work for a few months
Oh,
because of an anxiety. I basically couldn't leave the house. Um, Deliveries are a great thing.
mm,
Glovo, here we go.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and I decided it was about time to get back to work and do things. So I started sorting myself out, and trying to go to interviews, because like there's no way I was going to go back to the previous job.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and trying on clothes and looking myself in the mirror to go to interviews was like, oh my God, who am I looking at?
Mm, 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 mm. I can't imagine like
So
if so you put on 20, 30, 40 kilos, whatever it was, pick your time, and then all of a sudden you're in a hole and you're deciding, you know what, I need to do something about this, and then you all of a sudden have to get out of the house, put on like a nice dress or something to make yourself look decent, and then you get in the mirror and you're like, I can just imagine what it feels like. You're trying to try on clothes and nothing fits, and you're looking, and already you're going into the job interview with a self-condemning, self-deprecating mentality. It must have been horrible.
it was like another step backwards, not a step forward.
Right, right. So, okay, so we reached out, we got moving, and I remember seeing your initial photos. You have always been very data driven. So I I checked out your app, and ladies particularly who are watching, you want to know something really really interesting? She hasn't been perfect in her tracking, but Lesley, since September 2022, has missed very few weeks. She's still 2 to 3 years into this and still doing her check-ins weekly. Why do you do that, Lesley? Like, why are you still? Because the truth is, like, we're not expecting your weight to change crazily. Why are you still being accountable to that level?
It is that, it's the accountability, and I think it's the, I don't know, it's like I've just got myself into the habit. It's a habit now.
Mm, mm. I want to challenge you on something. So, looking at your numbers, I think what happens to a lot of men and women is that the moment the scale starts to say something that they don't like, they stop checking in. But actually, over the course of this year, you're weighing 4 to 5 kilos heavier than you were at your lightest. So I want to ask you the question again. Most people stop checking in if things start going the other way. Why is it that you're still checking in? Why is it that
Because
you why is it that you didn't stop? Is my question.
I still want to be accountable, and I still want to know where I am, and drive myself forward.
Hmm. Okay.
I mean, there was a reason why I've gone up, and that was because of the half marathon training, and that was all, it was all planned.
Hmm.
Now it's a case of losing that and getting back to the lightest.
Guys, I want you
Unless
I want you to hear what Lesley just said then. So her weight's gone up 3 to 5 kilos since the start of the year. She didn't stop checking in because she wanted to stay accountable. But on top of the fact, her goals switched to being performance based as opposed to aesthetic based. And if you're going to go and do a bunch of running, and I've been hammering this point over the last year, is that you need an abundance of calories to fuel that type of working out. You can't be doing half marathon trainings in massive calorie deficits. Running makes you hungry, right, Les? so it's not the best way to get a six pack to start running. Equally, if you are going to start running, you need to make sure that you've got the fuel in your system. And that means that you have to, in a lot of cases, be okay with not looking, as light as you possibly could. That's just par of the course. So let's talk about some of your wins, Lesley. So right now you're sitting about, like, call it about 20 to 25 kilos down. Like,
I'm
how is your,
probably about 30.
yeah, 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So like, how has that changed your life physically?
Fantastic. It's well, I mean, it's not perfect, but I would say I'm kind of 95% there. I actually quite like looking myself in the mirror now. I don't mind having photographs taken of me, and I can leave the house. I can actually be social.
Wow. Wow. Okay, that's a summary. Um, and we might get a bit before we go to more performance stuff. We might get a little bit vulnerable. I remember at the start of perhaps this year, where you and I got on a phone call and we were talking about, I've lost 30 kilograms, but I'm not any happier. Can
Mhm.
you sound a warning to anyone listening to this that for someone that's lost a substantial amount of weight and is like thinking that losing weight equals happiness? Could you like talk to that a little bit? Do you have some feelings on that?
Yeah, I mean, you've been fantastic, and so have the other girls and everyone else. I mean, I remember that phone call very much. I was actually in tears because I was like, when is this happiness going to come? You know? And it's not, it's happiness is just fleeting.
Mm,
It's being content and thinking, what are you grateful for? And, think about what can you do? And, rather than saying, "Oh God, I have to do this," I can do this.
mm,
It's something that it's a positive thing rather than a negative thing. Now, it's
mm.
a mind switch, not
Do you mean being able
anything
to
else.
do things physically? Do you mean?
Yeah, and also mentally.
Mm. So, last weekend, if you're new to Better Body Academy and you weren't aware of this, we ran a small retreat, a client retreat in London, in Scotland, and I got the fantastic opportunity to meet Lesley in person, and she was pretty much the first person that turned up, and I got to give her a massive hug, and it was so nice, and compared to you at the start of the year, Lesley, like you really had this aura of, I wouldn't say negative energy, but like, dare I say, like sorrow, maybe, that was just like clouding you. Um, it's the complete opposite with you now. I could not
Yeah,
wait to meet you. Two, every time I've spoken on the phone to you and seen you present in the group, it's just like this like aura of optimism. But then in person, like everyone commented about how awesome you are. And when I was speaking to my best mate Stu, I was like, how fucking cool is Lesley? Like she's just so cool to be around. So how do you explain the kind of fact that you lost a bunch of weight, you thought you were going to be a load happier, you weren't, but then 9 to 12 months on, something has changed mentally. Not now, it's not just a physical transformation. Like what, how is that, where's the energetic change come from?
lots of coach calls, support, asking questions, and in the past, I mean, up until about a year ago,
Mm.
I was blaming myself for a lot of things that really weren't my fault. Um,
Examples like
and
your dad getting sick and perhaps previous marriage stuff, that type of stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was blaming myself a lot and like beating myself up for a lot of things that weren't my fault. And it's taken me a long time and a psychologist to sort this out.
Mm, mm.
It's not.
Do you feel comfortable? You don't have to go deep or to the level you want talking about that the psychologist component, because I think that sometimes if you feel like it's got to that point where you need some level of therapy, I think people are embarrassed about it. But actually,
Yeah.
it's the most fucking courageous thing you could possibly do to go and unheap your shit to some stranger. but with the intention of, you know what, like I want to love myself enough to actually do this process. So what did that look like for you? Were you nervous about doing it? Were you what happened?
Oh God, absolutely. Being Scottish, we're just like that. Oh, come
Yeah,
on, stop your nonsense, get on with it, type
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Um, we don't believe in all that shite.
yeah.
But a couple of people had seen psychologists, and one of them actually recommended their
Mm,
psychologist. So I contacted them, and it was lovely. It was actually really lovely, so refreshing,
right.
so refreshing. And there's a lot of myths on psychology. It's like, right, lie on the sofa and tell me, and
Mm,
your ink blots and crap. It was nothing like that whatsoever. It was all
mm,
done online, actually, so it was really convenient.
mm, mm.
uh,
Oh, really? So like a Zoom call, just like this? It was from the
yeah,
comfort of your own home. Wow. Okay.
fine. And it was very, very easy to do. It was just like chatting to a friend, and they would like give you suggestions and like just reinforce like positive things rather than
Mm.
my negative thoughts.
So I've kind of jumped all around with this chat that we've had. This is so good because you're just so authentic, and I didn't want to like script any questions or anything like that. Can you? Could I catch you off guard and ask you for maybe the one or two lessons that you've needed to learn to help change your body that you think, particularly women watching this, would benefit from hearing? Like, was there things you needed to, like, you were struggling with before because you just didn't get this stuff, this kind of point or two?
Mm. Well, obviously the nutrition thing has been amazing. Learning properly how to feed the body. I mean, I don't stop eating now. I mean, it's ridiculous how
Mm,
much I eat.
mm, mm,
Uh, and people say, how are you, like, people at work are like that, how are you losing weight yet you're eating all that? And
yeah,
you're like that,
yeah.
because I know what to eat now.
I got the secret.
And it's,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
The other thing is, you know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, well, up until a year ago, and when I started speaking to the psychologist and stuff, I was very, very hard on myself.
Mm,
Very hard, very, very negative, always beating myself up,
mm,
you silly cow, doing this, blah, 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 you're worthless, that kind of thing.
mm,
But I'm worthless. I'm very good, and I deserve anything that anybody else has.
mm. Do you think that starting to push yourself into uncomfortable places like doing the half marathon has contributed to that self belief and self worth?
Yes, but baby steps, baby steps. Go to like a friend's house with four people. What used to freak me out, like having major anxiety attached,
Mm,
so much that I'd have and stuff.
mm,
Um, Slowly but surely, I half marathon with 60,000 runners.
mm.
That was stressful.
Yeah, yeah. And I found out that last week that doing the half marathon, Lesley, guys, check this out. Lesley actually did it with a sling in because, as I understand, the arthritis in your shoulder was just like hurting so much that she basically ran the race like this from about the halfway point or thereabouts. Of after one of the girls, literally put her in a sling. And I think this is like this. This goes to the exact heart. You remind me very much of the attitude of Nick Friend, very much so, and I think he's watching here as well. Terry Holden. It's like, isn't it just? It's almost like society has just this expectation that as soon as you hit 40 or 50 or 60, it's just the start of the decay, right? And so we play to that, don't we? We just say, oh yeah, okay, cool, like, all right, I'm done. I just fucking refuse. That will not be me. And there's a sprinkling of women and men, you know, that are just doing the exact same thing. And it's like what gives you the self-belief that you can do stuff in your 60s that you couldn't do in your 30s? Is it just how your mindset's changed? Like what?
It's definitely mindset. It's now I've got a lot of drive for fitness and to accomplish things that I would never have dreamed of before.
Mm.
And I'm always like that. Can I do that? I think I can do that. I'm going to try and do that.
So good. I want to just quickly hit one point to kind of finish this up. And if you've got any questions, guys, please you can pop them in the comments, and I'll ask Lesley. But I remember we were talking about you know, at the start of the year, particularly like life vision, and you felt like that was something you really struggled with. And I think what a lot of people do
Yeah.
is if they don't know their purpose and they don't have a crazy life vision, they just think, oh, well, there's fucking no point. But one of the direct instructions that I had for you is like, rather than trying to find your life purpose, start trying to live with purpose, with
Mm-hmm.
intent, and becoming really embracing your physical fitness, even if you don't have super duper clarity around what you want to do for the next 30, 40, 50 years on the earth. Just going and putting your mind to something hard is like, do you think that you're any clearer on the vision for life? Because you seem to live it with zest.
Well, I'm still not. I still have major issues trying to do like a life plan.
Yeah.
Um, the reason for that is I've actually done what I wanted to do. My plan was to live abroad, and I'm living abroad.
Yeah.
My
Wow.
plan, I'm living in the sun.
Wow.
So I've actually done what my life plan was already.
Mm.
Um, but what my drive now is just smaller nuggets, right? So like next year in July, I'm getting the operations, and then I've got a 10 kilometer in beginning of November, and I'm just gonna just keep adding on and keep giving me little challenges.
Yeah. And I think that is the key that I've seen from so many guys that are so successful. It's just it's like just having something to work towards that's 3 to 6 months off. You know,
Yeah.
you that I just look like, I always use this frame: success leaves cues. Success leaves clues.
Mm-hmm.
So look at what the inspirational people in your life are doing. Most of them are kind of going for something in 3 to 6 months time that's keeping them hungry. And the moment that they find
Mm-hmm.
themselves getting like demotivated and feeling, fuck, and what am I doing this for? It's like, what are you working towards? I don't know. It's like, it's not rocket science. That's the issue. So if you are in that position, guys, and you're listening to this, like I said, Leslie's like, she's 58, did you say?
Eight.
Like, she started living really of the last, 3 years, because she's put herself back in the driver's seat of getting her health right first. When her health
Mm-hmm.
improved, she then had the bandwidth to be able to dedicate some time to her mental health. We call it the ladder to liberation. Get your physical health right. Your mental health can then be dealt with. And when you're dealing with those two things, then your life starts to improve, and we can start to talk a bit more about happiness and contentment, because you've got the base of your pyramid right, if that makes sense. I just want to read out Erin's comment finally, who says, "You're just living, Lesley, and the smile on your face says it all." And I think that's a beautiful way to finish off this episode. I want to, I just want to say, I fucking love you. I appreciate the hell out of you. I appreciate every conversation that we've had, particularly of the last year, where you're just so coachable. You're just like, yes, I think you're a bit like you're feisty, right? You've got an attitude, and you're like you don't take shit. But at the same account, you're like you're even though you're a very worldly person that's been through a lot, you don't have too much ego to try to say, nah, I'm not doing that, nah, I'm not doing that. It's like you embrace the coaching. And ladies, if you're feeling like things are a struggle, like here is a picture of a woman that's lost 25 to 30 kilos, run a half marathon, lost 30 centimeters off her waist, has gone from really down in the dumps to, it's not perfect, but feeling like she's embracing life again. That's what this is about. And so, honoring you, Lesley, I appreciate you, mate. I just want to say thank you very much for staying up till 9:30 at night, local time, after a big day at work, coming in to do the podcast and coming in exactly on time. So, guys, yeah, give Lesley some love in the comments. And if you got some value out of this, if there's anything that come out of it, I want to read Sarah's comment as well. You looked stunning in that green dress, Lesley. And I remember that photo. I totally agree. More of that, right? Thank you so much. This has been the Better Body Academy podcast, coming to you on this beautiful Wednesday in London. I hope you guys are having a fantastic time. And I'm going to leave this podcast by saying, I hate you, Lesley, because you're in Gran Canaria and I'm somewhere in the middle of England. Peace out. I'll see you guys next episode.
No sleep.
So good. All right, we are done. We are done, girlfriend. We're still live, so don't like strip off and do anything weird. But yeah, Sarah's saying,
I'll try.
you're the best, Lesley. So hey, we're gonna we're not recording anymore. Podcast done. Coach Carly. Listen, I copped the brunt of this on a sit down last week. Jason, I've waited for 2 years to tell you this in person. I do not like when you call me Les. So I'll save you the berating, Erin. Carly, it's Lesley. And there's no way to shorten it, unfortunately. At the retreat, we tried L. It didn't really land. What's your reflections on the retreat coming home?
Wow. I just want to, because like in the coach call tonight, which I had to come off because I was coming on to this, I just wanted to hug everybody again, because they were just such amazing people. And it was such a spectacular weekend.
Good food,
Brilliant.
good mates,
Brilliant.
couple of beers, and some kind of
Too much alcohol.
Little couple of deep chats.
The odd pizza.
We were definitely in calorie surplus for the weekend, right? But good. Oh, what a babe. All right, team, I'm out. Good night, Les. Gosh, it's going to take so long to uncondition myself from saying this. Good night, darling Lesley. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Have a few pigs, Carly. That's Zachary. All right, lots of pigs.